Hello everyone, my name is Urionics, and today we'll be watching something so nostalgic, something that we all love and play with, Beyblades. Now, Gen Z kids will be like, wait, what is that? You need to watch Skibbity Toilet. You need to watch some Italian Brain Rot. That shit is fucked, bro. Back then, Beyblade was the biggest peak of our lifetime. We loved playing Beyblades, you know? During elementary school, all the kids would bring out their Beyblades and battle each other, sometimes stealing Beyblades. I got my stolen 6 times. I lost my Cyber Pegasus, the one that my cousin gave me for my birthday. Was it my birthday or my Christmas? It's whatever.
Back in the day, there were 5 major anime series that got kids into anime, that weren't Dragon Ball at least. And these series were Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, Beyblade, and Bakugan. All 5 of these series would go on to be huge franchises and sell hella merch.
I wasn't a Bakugan guy, my cousin was, but I only had the collection, like those little balls, right? But I never got to play Bakugan. Like, there was a game for it on DS. I think it was on DS or Game Boy. I think it was on DS. And I never watched the anime, so Bakugan was like 1 to 5% of my childhood. It's not really a big thing. I just had those like little balls, you know, but they were definitely cool.
Nice. With the range going from kids' toys and
Squirtle. I actually have Squirtle back there. I don't know if you guys can see him. He's just chilling.
Plushies to whatever the hell this is. Now, if you were born from like the mid 90s to like mid to late 2000s, I'd say at least one of these series had you in a chokehold at some point during your childhood. For me personally, it was Pokemon, Digimon, and Beyblade. I
wasn't a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I never understood Yu-Gi-Oh, if I'm being honest.
Really got too much into Bakugan, and Yu-Gi-Oh was too complicated for my 7-year-old brain, so I didn't really get into it till I was much older. So Pokemon, Digimon, and Beyblade were the 3 that I stuck with. Pokemon has some of my favorite games of all time. Digimon, in my opinion, has a really underrated anime, at least for the first few seasons. But as you guys read by the title, the one I'll be talking about today is Beyblade. Now, Beyblade has multiple different series, and today I'll be talking about the best one, okay? I ain't talking about that old shit, and I ain't talking about that new shit. I'm talking about the best Beyblade series ever.
Yeah.
Beyblades. I meant Beyblade Metal Saga. Hell yeah.
Sheesh. Ryuga? Ooh. I love Ryuga.
Beyblade Metal Saga, probably the most iconic Beyblade series. I mean, everybody knows the intro. Beyblade, Beyblade, let it rip. That shit used to get me and so many other kids hyped back in the day. But that intro is just a small taste of how fire this show is. But to give a background for the show for those who don't really know, and just because why not, Beyblade Metal Saga is the 2nd generation of the Beyblade franchise. It would start off as a manga in 2008, and not even a full year later will receive an anime adaptation, which would be the main source for the series' success, along with the merchandise. The Metal Saga has 3 different parts. There's Metal Fusion, then Metal Masters, and then lastly Metal Fury.
I enjoy Metal Masters more. I don't know why. I feel like Beyblade Metal Fury had the best Beyblades because you can change modes and the performance tip, but Beyblade Metal Masters for me was more exciting. It was more like an actual tournament, like reborn characters like Ryuga, right? They got like their new Beyblades. I guess they evolve, if that makes sense, but yeah.
There's also a 4th part, and that's Shogun Steel. But in all honesty, no.
Shogun Steel is so mid. This was the most unnecessary like season or part of the franchise. Like, it had no connection to the Meta Sega. It goes from Fusion, Masters, and Fury. That's it. I don't know why they made a Shogun Steel.
Nobody really cared about it. Like, who actually liked Shogun Steel? All jokes aside though, Shogun Steel really just felt like they were trying to drag the show on for no reason. There's a reason. I didn't like the money. Characters. And it's very reflective in the show's quality. But it really,
the reason why they made Shogun Steel because they saw the biggest peak of Metal Sega, right? Like, after Fury, everyone was buying Beyblades in retails. That's the reason why they made a 4th season, if what you call it. But yeah, the reason why back then when Metal Sega was peak was because the fusion wheel, like the metal, was actual metal. Nowadays, the Beyblades you see at Walmart or any retail store, they're all shit. It's just straight up plastic. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It really just felt unnecessary considering the fact that Metal Fury ended things off pretty well. But I'm not really gonna talk too much about Shogun Steel in this video. I'm mainly just focusing on the main 3. Now, with that being said, what exactly makes these 3 series so great? Well, to put it simply,
Pegasus.
Beyblade shows us the amount of enjoyment we can get from 2 spinning tops clashing into each other. But not only that, it gives us valuable lessons, like the true importance of teamwork and hard work, along with the ability to persevere through tough situations. All of this making Beyblade one of the most important and impactful series of our time. The end.
The end. I didn't even get I don't even know what you just said.
Is what I would say if it was really that deep. See, the Metal Saga is pretty much like the first generation, but on crack, which is wild considering the first generation has some crazy moments itself, especially when it comes to the Beyblades and their abilities. But anyways, pretty much everyone in this universe has a Beyblade. Like in this show, Beyblade is more than just a sport. This shit really gets serious. Instead of guns, I'm pretty sure the cops in this universe just use Beyblades. Hell, even Moses himself used the Beyblade to part the Red Sea. Like, yo, this show is just straight up ridiculous at certain points. But that's part of the reason why I love it so much. Anyways, though, the main characters of the show are Jinka, Kenta, Benkei, and Madoka. Now, this obviously changes as the show goes on and more characters are introduced. Jinka's main Beyblade is the iconic Pegasus. Kenta's main Beyblade is Sagittario.
Sagittario was so shit. I prefer Dark Bull. Dark Bull is somewhat reliable. I used to have Dark Bull, but
Benkei has Tauros, and Madoka is the only one in the group that doesn't have a Beyblade, except for that one random ass time. But she's really just a mechanic of the group. Episode. Now, my thoughts on these 4 characters.
It was that episode where I think one of the Beyblade was about to break, and then Madoka had to stop the fight using her Ray Gasher or something. I don't know.
Characters are that they're fine. Madoka and Benkei are fine. Kenta's alright for like most of the series until Metal Fury, where he gets a lot of development. And Jinka, as the main protagonist of the whole series, is kind of mixed for me. On one hand, he has a lot of cool and badass moments. Like even in his introduction, he was standing on business. But on the other hand, he makes a lot of questionable decisions sometimes. And I know it's a kid's show and all, but oh my god, is that plot armor?
It's the Beyblade spirit! That's how I always win!
Thick! One scene that fully demonstrates this is his fight with Damien. So this is near the end of Metal Masters, right? And Jinka's team is going against these guys named Team Starbreaker. And one of the guys on that team is named Damien.
This is the reason why I love Metal Masters, because towards the end of the tournament, when Jinka won against Damien, fucking at the top of the tower, when I think, what was his name, Ziggurat or Dr. whatever his name is, he was like, I'm gonna fucking blow up the planet or some shit, like blow up an island, and fucking everyone was like, nah, we ain't gonna let you. And all of a sudden, it was just a free-for-all. It was crazy. They blew up a whole fucking building by just doing that.
Now, this guy was on demon time in this entire part of the series. Bro was soloing teams of some of the strongest bladers in the show, which sounds absolutely crazy, but it all makes sense once you find out what his Beyblade is. The Beyblade he possesses is Hell Kerbix, which is actually one of the few Beyblades I had in real life. Now, this Beyblade is pretty broken. It's a stamina type Beyblade, meaning that it's able to spin for a really long time, but it's also...
Assuming it's also has great defense, because that bay is huge. I remember seeing that bay in real life. That was a little bit bigger than other Beyblades.
Able to turn into an attack type Beyblade. So not only is it going to stay in the ring for a while, but it can also deal some pretty serious damage. But this ain't even the craziest thing about it. Its final attack, and hear me out on this, is to literally summon the gates of hell. And it changes up your Beyblade spirits, finishing them off and giving them a big game over. So yeah, pretty damn broken. But yet, somehow, Jinka was able to beat this guy. These two were literally fighting in hell. And it seemed like Damien could have had a chance. But Jinka started going on this whole, oh, I'm doing this for my friends shtick. And like 9 times out of 10, whenever a protagonist does this, some bullshit's about to happen. So Jinka pretty much breaks out of the chains and they end up back in the real world where Jinka defeats him. Now, again, I know this is a kid's show, but even when I was a kid, I thought this was kind of dumb. Even with all that, though, it's still...
Be grateful this happened, because what we have in 2025 is so bad, man. A lot of kids used to make fun of each other, like, oh, you have a Beyblade? Like back in, like, you know, 2010, 2009, all the Beyblades, you know, people were making fun of the kids. But now, looking back, it aged pretty well. It aged like a fine wine.
One of my favorite fights from the series. Anyways, though, with that aside, there are a few other characters that I think are worth mentioning. And the first one is Kiyoya. Kiyoya pretty much started off as Jinka's rival at the beginning, but he would eventually join Jinka's team and become one of the main cast members. His Beyblade is Leon, and it's probably my favorite defense type Beyblade. He has a pretty cool design, and honestly, he's just one of my...
What is my favorite Beyblade of all time? I would probably say my favorite Beyblade of all time is probably El Drago. I just like the idea of, you know, it's a fucking dragon. Also, it's the only Bey that can spin left. If I had to pick which El Drago, it's probably... Oh, that's hard. It's either... Those 3 El Dragos are pretty good. Lightning El Drago, Meteor El Drago, and El Drago Destructor. I do have El Drago Destructor somewhere. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me cool grab it. I had extra Beyblades, but I think they all disappeared. That's my Beyblade. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Sheesh. We got El Drago Destructor. I actually painted the red top because the stickers were just terrible. Actually, this is kind of cool. Watch this. There's actually a mode change where you switch it to absorb mode. If I can switch it properly. All right. So basically, you notice how the red part is more exposed? Like this part right here. Like you see how the blue one is like covered with the dragon head. It's kind of cool, eh? And the bottom is like when you launch it, it starts in hold flat. When it loses spin, it goes to the like this like sharp tip. This is basically stamina mode. And it doesn't still spin that well. It just had really bad friction. If you had Meteor El Drago, okay, now that bay has the best spin stealing. I think Lightning El Drago has more of a better design because I like the stickers. Like it goes from like yellow to red. Like when you switch to upper mode, like the red, it lets you know you're pretty fucked. I think it's in this video, but I'm not really sure.
My favorite characters. Tsubasa is also another character I think is worth mentioning.
Tsubasa
has some really cool moments and great fights.
Tsubasa is pretty cool. I like his what you call it, his tactics and battle strategies are like pretty solid.
Also really do like his
Dark
Beyblade,
Tsubasa was really cool.
Another character that's really worth mentioning is Masamune.
Fuck this guy. I hate Masamune. This guy is probably the worst character in the whole Metal Saga. I don't care. I do like the parts where he almost beats his opponent but ends up losing really badly. Like there's always like a plot armor, like a plot twist. Like he just loses so big. He's just so bad.
He was introduced in Metal Masters, and I ain't gonna lie, at first I thought he was pretty annoying. But as
annoying,
the series went on,
terrible.
I started enjoying him more and more. His Beyblade is Unicorno, and is also another one of my favorite Beyblades. And Masamune overall is just another one of my favorite characters. But
He's
not
mid.
my favorite. Because that goes to the next character I'm about to talk about. And that character is the iconic, the one and only Dragon Emperor himself,
goat.
Ryuga.
Yeah, Ryuga is scary, bro. I don't think there's any Beyblade characters that can beat this guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. This man summoned dark orbs in the fucking fusion season. Oh my god.
Man, I don't think y'all understand. I've been waiting
This
this
guy
whole
has
video
aura.
just to talk about this man. If
Ryuga
there were a
has
list of
aura.
reasons to go back and watch the show again, Ryuga would be number one. Because there were just so many
Holy.
times where this dude was carrying the show on his back. And this may sound like I'm glazed.
I never liked season 1 Beyblade Metal Fusion because I guess they were introducing all of the characters. That's why it took 30 episodes in. But the only reason why Fusion did so well is because of Ryuga and maybe the opening theme like Beyblade, Beyblade, let it rip. That got like the media's attention and then people started watching Beyblade even more as a kid. But Ryuga carried Metal Fusion. He had a really good character development later on.
But if you've seen the show, you completely understand what I mean. Now, he may seem like a generic anime antagonist, and maybe he is, but this dude was truly an enjoyable character throughout the whole show. Just straight up Black Air Force
Lightning
energy.
Eldrago
I mean, this
is so
dude was literally
cool.
training in a volcano. You know how raw you gotta be to do some stuff like that?
This
He also
guy's
had one of the
always
most
in a
overpowered
volcano.
Beyblades, being El Drago. During Metal Masters, Ryuga didn't even need to use a launch cord or nothing for
Yeah,
his Beyblade.
that's
All he
Meteor
had to do
Drago.
was
He just
throw it and it would
use his
spin on its
hand.
own. And he was able to take out multiple bladers with just this. Like, bro is the true definition of aura. Honestly,
Yeah.
he deserves his own video. But with the characters aside now, I want to talk about the actual story. The first part of the series is Metal Fusion. It starts off kind of episodic with the characters mostly just doing side quests. It also introduces us to most of the main characters. The first half also sets up the main antagonist group, which is named Dark Nebula. It's ran by this guy named
Nebula.
Doji. They become a lot more important in the second half, which is mostly a tournament arc called the Battle Bladers, where Jinka and his team fights against Dark Nebula. We get a
Wait a second. What is this matchup? Okay, Jinga versus what is this guy's name again? You? I think it was you, right? This was definitely Libra. This guy was definitely not gonna win against this guy. This guy's, I think this was it was a snake. The snake Beyblade? I forgot. This is definitely Capricorn. For some reason, whenever I see this man's hair, it just gives me Capricorn. I don't know why. Dark Bull, yeah. Okay, these two are good matchup. Kenta Sagittaria versus Ray Dasher. Eagle versus... Who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? This, I remember it was Virgo. It was like the ballerina? Not the ballerina cappuccino, right? Pisces, right? Kiyoya versus... Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, yeah, Kiyoya won. Okay, this is a dumb matchup. This girl, I bet all these guys can solo her. I swear Kenta won against her. What's her name? Hikaru? She lost against a little kid. This is straight up, why do I hear boss music? I don't know why this will be a good matchup. Ryuga versus...
A bunch of cool fights, with the most important one being Jinka versus Ryuga
Holy
at the end.
shit.
Well, Drago pretty much enters Ryuga's body, and he basically gains this sort of dragon form. But before he can get any stronger, Jinka defeats him, and Dark Nebula is defeated, and that's pretty much the end of Metal Fusion. Next up is Metal Masters, and this is probably the most memorable part for me. It's pretty much a big world tournament between different teams. We get a bunch of great fights like Kyoya versus Jinka, Tsubasa versus Team Excalibur, Ryuga versus Jack, the Damien fights that I mentioned earlier, along with a bunch of others. Now, Metal Masters doesn't just focus on this tournament.
It was so good because like Ryuga entered, he basically disrupt the tournament and challenge the opponents like Jack, as you can see. And then what was it? Then you have Dark Tsubasa where he got infected by El Drago. Yeah, that shit was sick. This is the reason why I love Metal Masters.
Because at the end, the main characters had to defeat this organization named Hades, and they basically took one of Masamune's friends and are trying to turn him into quote-unquote the perfect blader. Pretty much, to make a long story short, our main characters defeat this organization Hades, and we get Masamune's friend back to normal, and everything ends happily ever after. That is until Metal Fury. Now, Metal Fury doesn't really involve any tournaments or nothing. It basically gives us a bunch of lore about the Beyblade in this world. But basically in Metal Fury, the god of destruction Nemesis is about to be reborn, and 10 legendary bladers must be chosen to defeat him. Now, all 10 bladers have what's called the star fragment inside of each of their Beyblades.
Metal Fury's
these guys are Jinka, Kyoya, and Ryuga. These three are included in what's called the Bladers of the Four Seasons. Jinka representing fall, Kyoya representing spring, Ryuga representing summer, and Chris, who's a new character, represents winter. The rest of the legendary bladers are the solar system bladers, all of which are completely new characters. You have Yuki, whose planet is Mercury, Tithi has Venus, King has Mars, Dynamis has Jupiter, and Aguma has Saturn. Now, the last legendary blader is Rago, who was the main antagonist of Metal Fury and is the son of Nemesis. Now, this guy is pretty much the strongest character in the series. His Beyblade is the insane Diablo Nemesis, and he pretty much solos everyone. Even the GOAT Ryuga.
Yeah, my GOAT Ryuga.
R.I.P. to the realest character in the show. But his death isn't in vain, because his power goes to Kenta, which I forgot to mention, the two kind of had a student and teacher relationship throughout Metal Fury, and this power up that Kenta receives is sort of like the payoff. Anyways though, Rago and Nemesis pretty much merge together, and with there being pretty much no way to defeat this guy, it ends in sort of like a Boo Saga type of way, where every blader in the world sends their power to Jinka, and Jinka defeats Nemesis and Rago, finally giving us the end of the series.
Ooh!
In all honesty, looking back at the Beyblade Metal Saga, it was pretty fun. Again, the series was really big for me and a lot of other people during our childhoods, and making this video had me really nostalgic, and rewatching some parts of the anime was a real trip through memory lane. And maybe now to many people it may just seem like another kids show, but back in the day, the Metal Saga was truly peak. Anyways though, with all that being said, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Currently at the time of this video, we're at over 300 subscribers, so it would mean a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video.
What a great video. That was awesome. Space Reen, that was awesome, man. It's good that somebody was talking about how peak this Beyblade era was. It's insanely good. Now, I know it's like fucking, you're like, you lost your Beyblade. It's just a Beyblade. Hey, guys, listen. My cousin gave me Cyber Pegasus. That was the most rarest Beyblade in the entire world. And I gave it to some random ass kid. And you wanna know why I gave it to a random ass kid? Because I just wanted him to be my friend. So that is the reason why I gave my Beyblade away. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.